Did the Hoosiers get a moral victory on Saturday? Mike Woodson made some changes we all been talking about. Let's get into the episode talking about the Illinois game.
Watford 3 on the way.
Hello guys, and thank you so much once again for joining me on Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron, and this is an Indiana Hoosiers and Colts community where we'll talk about the Indiana game, what happened yesterday in the Illinois game. A lot of stuff to break down in this game. We're going to get to it all. There are many players, and the effort level was definitely a lot better than what we've seen here lately. But nonetheless, the Hoosiers have lost 4 out of 5 now, and everybody's looking for answers. I mean, all morning long, I just got back from South Bend. We're watching the game over there all morning. I've really been ping-ponging back and forth in my mind, like whether or not this game, was this a moral victory or was this just another loss? I mean, this looks like another loss on the card, but what can we take from this going forward? Now, I'm going to just give you my take on it. And my take is, I think we did get a moral victory. I think this team really needs a moral victory. And I don't think at this point, I want to just sit here and bash the players or bash anybody, because I mean, although in times past I've done a lot of rants on this channel and talked about things, we saw some changes from Woodson. We saw some things a little bit different. Anthony Walker starting, playing a little bit different role, Ware not being out there. Ultimately, in the end, Indiana is playing with 2 left feet out there, and we just can't get out of our way. It's like we're playing with 2 left feet and we're wondering why our feet are sore. So it gets really frustrating, because there's just the style that we're playing right now. It's like you have no room for any mistakes whatsoever. I mean, we lost 10 points on free throws. We lost points at the 3-point line as well. We left a lot of offensive rebounds out there. They out-rebounded us on the offensive end, and the defensive rebounds were even. The fact that we did not make a 3-pointer for the first time since 2010 is absolutely baffling. That stat really, at this point, it's a microcosm of what is really happening in basketball in general. In 2010, I mean, teams were playing a totally different style, and then the Golden State Warriors and so many teams that have picked up on these small ball lineups, the death lineup that the Golden State Warriors ran, Illinois is running that. And the reason why this game really is so disappointing is Illinois did not really play their best game. They had a tough night shooting. They shot 36% for threes, but in the end, we can't hit a 3-pointer. I mean, we're 0 for 9 on 3-pointers, and that's really killing us. Mike Woodson, is he going to be on the hot seat? And I don't even like to use that term, hot seat, if he's going to be on the hot seat. I think the main thing people are just really disappointed with right now is how we play. It's a game where most teams are playing and shooting at least 25 3-pointers a game, and we're shooting 9 and we're not making any. We're losing a lot of points there. We're just not really playing the game and the way that the modern game, it needs to be played right now to win. And so we're not getting the players that we need to play that way. We're not putting people in position to shoot ever. I mean, really, until something really drastically changes, I mean, all we're going to do is just continue to dump the ball down to Renew time after time, or dump the ball down to Ware. And you could see Illinois, they were just leaving Galloway wide open. I mean, Galloway and Cups at times, they just completely left their defenders and went down. And they had 3 guys in the lane then, where, those guys are jumping up, trying to tip the offensive rebounds away from us. And they got a lot of those offensive rebounds. And that is something, when you're playing the style of play that Indiana is choosing to play right now, you have to rebound. That brings me to defense. The defensive effort for IU was, I think, the best they played all year. They played a lot more connected. The guys that were in there really were playing really hard. So I want to just, touch on that. Were there times where, There's a time where, Mbako fell asleep and he just kind of drifted down to the lane. That gets frustrating. Going back to rebounding and Mbako, he is like the only guy who's stepping up and really tackling rebounds. I mean, he's just coming out of nowhere and just grabbing rebounds. He had 12 rebounds and 12 points in this game, and he's really standing out around the 3-point line a lot of times when these shots are going up, and he's just streaking in there and, grabbing a rebound. We need more than one guy to, we really need Anthony Walker, if he doesn't shoot out there, to be the guy who's going to be doing those types of dirty work type plays. We're not getting that there. I went back and watched. I mean, some plays, Anthony Walker just looks so timid to go after some rebounds, and it's just tough to watch. Like, is he confused on if he should get it? Like, I just don't understand that part of it at all. That was very telling. The defensive effort, definitely much better in this game. Our offense just is what it is. I mean, it's not going to change because we've seen, but he changed the lineup, and that brings me to my next point. I mean, what's very, very troubling and very telling about this team is that CJ Gunn and Banks did not play at all in this game. And I know Woodson says, you earn your playing time from practice and all these things. And I know CJ Gunn had the stupid play in the Wisconsin game. I mean, but it's just very telling that we are not developing players. You can't have guys that are now second-year players that just don't see the court in a game like that on the road. It's great experience for those guys. I can't believe that's just where we are with those two players right now, that they can't even see the court. Caleb Banks and CJ Gunn. I don't have anything else to say. They'll probably transfer and, we'll have to go get somebody else. But that's just what's happening these days in college basketball. Tell me what you think about that in the comments down below. I mean, Gunn and Banks just don't see the court at all. Very troubling to me. And that brings me to my next point. Xavier Johnson played his best game that he's played really since the Ohio State game. It would be crazy to think that he's going to continue to be able to stay at that level. And, I do want to give him, I think that play at the end of the half, I think that was a really stupid play by him. Why he kind of did that, I guess it could be debated in a lot of ways. And, I don't like to side in with Xavier Johnson. You can't do that when you're him in that situation, because, everybody's just, you are under a microscope, and you got to realize that. So him coming down, and he did a great job getting to the bucket. I mean, he was the only guy really on our team that was getting to the bucket and being able, he got a couple of drive layups right on them. It's good to see, because if he can contain himself emotionally and be somewhat of you need a little bit of some annoying players on your team like a Xavier Johnson. He just can't do the things like Draymond Green does and go over the edge and, punch somebody or grab somebody or do something stupid like that. You got to be smarter than that. The guy who did it perfectly was Dennis Rodman. He did all the annoying things, but he contained himself to the point where he wasn't going to ever really get kicked out of the game. I mean, I'm sure he got ejected sometimes, but a lot of times he could just be a menace. And sometimes teams need players like that. Every team really needs a spectrum of personalities and guys that fill different roles, and that's one of them. You need a little bit of an agitator. One of my favorite players was like McRoberts when Archie was at Indiana. He was just one of the only guys that really seemed like into playing defense and that type of thing, and he was doing all the little things right, and he could be menacing on defense to just annoy people. Chris Reynolds, same thing. Awesome on defense. Could be very, very intense defense. Can just really get under somebody's skin without getting yourself kicked out of the game. Just let your playing get to them. Overall in this game, can we take some moral victories from this? Old school mind inside of me wants to say, you just can't, you can't act like you got to put a W on the card, to actually. But this game and this team, they did really show up out there and they were in control of the game, a lot of the game, and just really let it get away at the end. I mean, Illinois scored the last 8 points. That's where they lost it right there. Thought the Xavier Johnson call, the charge, was a really bad call. I mean, could have went either way, I guess, but I felt like that was just a home court call. Like Assembly, if we were at Assembly Hall, we get that charge right there. You're on the road, you don't get that call. You don't think, I mean, it plays into the referee's psyche. It just does. Human nature, referees, they're not robots. The human nature, it plays into their mind a little bit. And, that's how you see they get the home court call there. All in all, I mean, I'm going to have a lot more to say about, coming up through these next few games. And, we're just going to see how the rest of the season is going to play out. Mike Woodson, can he get this team to play different? It's just not going to happen because the style of play is not going to change. I really, really, really wanted them to pull this win out just because they've taken a lot of heat from a lot of the fans, and you just want it for these guys. You really do. You just really, really want it for these guys. And, we're all passionate about Indiana basketball. We want to, see them succeed, and these are our guys. We love all of them, and we want all of them to do as great as they can. In the end, we come away with a loss. We take it for what it is. Hopefully they can keep this energy level going into these home games and then maybe take that on the road and see what happens. I'm not giving up on this team yet. And until next time, stay classy out there, Colts and Hoosier fans.